guys? Welcome back to the channel, and for today's video, man, I wanted to give you guys a review on Maximus. And the main reason for that, guys, is because he's the main villain for the Wolverine Epic Quest. So he gets mentioned quite often, and a lot of people may be new to this game and they're thinking, well, if he's the main villain, that must mean he's at least pretty good, right? Well, guys, I'm gonna tell you that you're wrong if that's what you think, because he's actually just half decent at best. When it comes to special mission characters, in my mind, he's in the same league as a Squirrel Girl. And a lot of you guys may be thinking, well, Squirrel Girl is OP, like ridiculously OP in the comics. However, in this game, she's only B tier at best, and that's the exact same way I feel about Maximus. And the main reason why I feel like Maximus is so bad, guys, is because he doesn't really shine in any one area. As a whole, his damage is pretty low, especially since he's a blast type. His survivability is a joke, to be honest with you guys, because he's pretty squishy, and although he gets this guard right here, it only gives you a guard for one hit and it refreshes every 2 seconds, right? Like, this is pretty bad. One guard hit for 2 seconds is absolutely terrible, especially when we have other characters in the game that have a guard hit, 8 guard hits for 8 seconds. Like, this is terrible. Like, they should have at least given him 2 guard hits and made it so it refreshed every 3 seconds. That would have been way better. Like, this is just terrible. And although it does some lightning damage, which is reminiscent to Lincoln's is way better than this. And with only 1 guard hit, you definitely don't want to be close to anything, because if a fly comes near you, you're going to start taking damage immediately. And the little damage that this is doing to the enemy is not going to do anything for you, okay? He is fun to play in a sense that you have so many different summons that you have to play around with. And so it's really nice to see them on the map. But apart from that, he's not really that great. I do like playing with him for the simple fact that I find him to be very useful in Conquest. I've actually used my tier 1 Maximus to take down quite a few tier 2 teams, to be honest with you guys, because of all the summons being out, and they constantly guard break the enemy and make it very difficult for them to get to Maximus if you have him built pretty well, right? Overall, he's a world boss clearer, not anything crazy. He still can beat most of them. However, you're going to have to play him pretty skillfully and make sure you take full advantage of this shield right here, right? I do like his second skill because it gives him this paralysis type effect, and not a lot of characters have passives that can counter this, and you can't really roll for anything that's going to protect you. A lot of obelisks will end up having like 2 good stats and have like stun resist on there, and that ends up being something that can be beneficial in certain situations. There's no obelisk that's going to protect you against being paralyzed, so that's pretty good in that sense. And it's a 3-second paralysis on top of all the friggin' summons being out, and they're going to constantly guard break the enemy every time they hit them. So that's going to be pretty useful if you chain it together with the 2 skill. The 1 skill is also pretty good because it's like a long range laser beam, and that laser beam is going to guard break the enemy whenever he uses it. So that's pretty good. However, I find that his 4-star passive is actually pretty terrible. I do like the summon. I think more summons on the map is going to benefit him, even if they don't do a lot of damage. But the 50% increase to machine type characters is actually terrible, because off the top of my head, guys, I can only think of like 5 machine type characters, and none of them are any good, to be honest with you, at the moment. Iron Man is not good, War Machine is not good, Blast Spin is not good, Deathlock's not good. Like, none of the machine types that he's doing more damage to are any good. So this is a wasted passive for right now. Maybe later on it will become more relevant, but for right now I think it's trash, to be honest with you guys. As for his tier 2 passive, I don't think you should tier 2 him, because it's going to make him a little bit better, but it's not going to really make a big difference to me. He's still going to be only a half decent world boss killer, and he's only going to be mainly a Shadowland type character and Alliance Conquest. For Extreme AB, he can probably get you over 100k. However, you're probably going to need to put an Awakened ISO set on him. You're going to definitely need some Urus in order to break that barrier of 100k, in my opinion, okay? His leadership, pretty terrible. Decreased debuff duration by 24%. I know debuffs are becoming very, very popular with more characters getting time freeze and all this stuff, but even without their time freeze, they're going to kill him way before this actually makes any kind of difference in the fight, right? So as for his gears, I think his gears are pretty decent considering how bad they made his kit. Energy attack and crit damage is pretty good. I rolled energy attack per level for the first 2 and all attack and energy for the remaining slots, and that's what you want to go for right here. Next slot right here, all defense and skill cooldown. This is definitely another good slot. So I roll for energy per level for the first 2 and all defense in the remaining slot, okay? Next one right here, it's a decent slot. Dodge and crit rate I would have preferred the crit rate to be at the top and the dodge be at the bottom, but it's whatever. Still a good slot. And I rolled for HP per level for the first two and HP for the remaining slot. And the reason for that is because he doesn't get any HP in his kit. As you guys can see, he has attack speed and movement speed. This is the only slot that I think is pretty bad, because I would have liked to get some ignore defense right here. So that's a big bummer for me. But overall, his gears are pretty decent for what he gets natively, okay? So attack speed and movement speed. Right here, I mixed it up a little bit. I put some attack speed in here, and I put some ignore defense and a little bit of crit damage, right? And the reason why I put some attack speed right here is because I don't have attack speed on my cards, and I wanted to make sure I can get through the animation for his skills as quickly as possible, so I don't take any unnecessary damage, right? The ignore defense is here to help me get to as close to 50% as possible. As for his obelisk, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, get something like this. Don't mind the poison damage. I mainly put this here for the ignore defense and the invincibility. You definitely want to get ignore defense, and you 100% want invincibility. You don't want to damage proc, because none of his skills do any kind of burst damage. You want to make sure you prioritize his survivability, and that's going to be the best possible way to go about it, okay? For the second slot, instead of the poison resist, go ahead and put some crit damage there, and that's probably going to be the best possible option for him. As for an ISO set, you want to go for Power F Angry Hulk or Overdrive. It's up to you, because he does get crit damage and crit rate in his kit, so you don't necessarily need to roll for Overdrive, and he does get attack speed in his kit as well, so you don't necessarily need the attack speed from Power F Angry Hulk. I would say don't go for Hawk's Eye, because you're not going to need the dodge, and you probably won't need the skill cooldown either, because as you guys can see, my skill cooldown is maxed out, and I didn't really have to roll for any on these gears, right? However, if your cards are not that great, you might need to do that, okay? As you guys can see, my ignore defense is not 100% maxed out, but 49.88% is pretty solid. And the only thing I'm really missing here is a little bit more crit rate and some more crit damage. So let's go ahead and test this guy out inside Shadowland. Now we're going to put him up against Loki and see just how well he performs dealing with all those summons that Loki has, okay? All right, Maximus. All right, let's do this thing. And one of the main reasons why this guy is actually so good inside Shadowland, even though he's a summon type character, and the majority of summon users in this game is actually completely useless in Shadowland because their summons don't pull aggro, is because he has so many summons that it's kind of hard for them to not pull aggro, because they're going to be all up in your face. And all you got to really do is stay behind them, and while they're trying to get to you, they're going to walk right into the path of your actual clones or summons or minions or whatever. So as long as you have pretty good skill cooldown and you stay behind them, it's going to be pretty hard for them to get through. Pretty much all you got to do, guys, is stay on the ball, use your skills as soon as they come off rotation, and you're good to go. I would highly recommend making sure that you have max skill cooldown, otherwise you might run into some troubles. But yeah, man, that's all I have to say for this one. Let me know if you disagree and you think Maximus is way better than I said. Like always, thanks for watching. Leave your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And I'm out.